And we will continue with our panel discussion, and I invite back Sasha and Martina with us online as well. Nice to see you both. So I'm going to start with our first question that came from the audience, and it's directed to Charles University. And the question is your university just oriented to US students, or are you more international?
I'll take that.
Absolutely.
As I mentioned, we do have a very robust Erasmus program. So we do have a lot of European students, usually about 300 to 400 a semester. But our program, which is within the international office, is really geared towards US and Canadian. And as I mentioned, in the summer, we do have some Asian students. But definitely, there's a goal of being more international than just American.
Sure. I can imagine the time zones must be really difficult to manage if there's people from Asia and people from the United States and also from the European Union. And I was just thinking that maybe you want to elaborate a little bit on that. How did you do the classes, like depending on the different time zones?
Yes, actually we, during the spring, we had only American students. So on one hand, it was easy to find the good times, but normally our schedule starts at 9 a.m. in the morning. And so we counted approximately 6 hours. And now I'll be talking in European time zone. So in Prague, we started at 2 p.m. It means back to US, it was for them 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. It's early, but still manageable. And our courses lasted until 10 p.m. European time zone. It means for US students, it was the end of the courses were in the afternoon. So then they had all day for their stuff and their essays and their homeworks. And sorry, yeah, and you were asking about Asian students. We had this case during summer because our spring online semester was quite successful. We learned so many things, how to improve our services and our approach. And during the summer, we decided the same thing, to start our courses at 2 p.m. because for US students, it'll be the same in the morning, and for Asian students, it'll be around 8 p.m. in the evening. It's a bit late, but still manageable for young students who are most of the time studying during the evenings.
Fantastic. I'm actually also a student in Tallinn University, and I've been getting used to these new online classes and everything. I remember when I did my bachelor degree, it was all like there in Tallinn, like in the classrooms. And I was just thinking, now I'm so used to these online classes. Is this the new norm? Do I ever need to go back to school per se? Do I ever need to be back in the classroom? Or I can just do my degree fully online? What do you think, Rein?
Well, when I talk to the international... Okay. So when I was conducting the focus group interview with our international students, then all of them said that they miss the socializing part of the university that comes along. And they indeed miss the opportunity to go to the class and have like immediate contact with their course mates and the lecturers. So I think next to the part that you are just getting education from the university, the socializing part is very important to all students. So I would not prefer that the universities go fully online.
Sasha, do you want to comment?
Sure. Especially for us, because we work in study abroad, so we're welcoming the international students, it really, the experience cannot translate fully. You know, we did our best in the spring and summer, but it cannot translate fully to online. Students won't really choose to take classes, you know, from a university in Prague when it's just online, because it is so much about the experience. So I think the online courses will become a bigger part of universities now that they see how it can work and that some people do prefer it, but I don't think it will take the place, and certainly not in international education.
Martina, do you want to add something?
No, I completely agree with Sasha. Maybe it can be one of the solutions for socio-economic or students in socio-economic difficult situation when they cannot afford to travel to foreign country and pay for their program. Like that, they will just pay really a lower amount for the courses and at least to try in international environment.
Absolutely. Now, one thing that I'm really worried about is that I am doing these online classes. Some of them are hybrid, some of them are fully online. I've also been there in the classroom with the teacher sometimes. And I'm just worried about how does this kind of like hybrid and also online courses, how does it affect the education quality? And I've been really like thinking about this lately, and maybe Rein, you want to elaborate on that?
Well, I'm not the right person to answer that, but I believe we are in the era where we are learning how to do the whole education giving in the online virtual ways. But some students have also mentioned that they feel that the education is not the same as it was during the contact courses, as in the online courses. But I believe that we are in a process when we are still learning, and I hope and believe that we are getting only better at it.
Fantastic. Sasha, do you want to comment?
Sure. I agree with that completely. I think we're definitely learning a lot along the way. I do think the hybrid versions are at least better than completely online because there's some interaction with the professor, but I'm sure it's very difficult for the professors to do that, kind of switching back and forth. And I just wanted to mention one example that we are doing actually that I think could be a way of the future is a sort of cultural engagement lab where we have one of our professors, he created a Prague Peace Trail where he highlights different places where people lived who resisted something peacefully without violence, and he recorded a whole session of part of the walk, and then he's going to follow up with a live Q&A session. So I think that kind of mix of things could be beneficial to some students.
Absolutely. I'm personally really glad that this COVID-19 didn't happen 20 years ago, because I don't know what I would do without Netflix and how I would study, to be honest. So I'm happy that there are actually ways to communicate, ways to study online, and it's great to live in the future. Now, I saw in your slides that you did a survey in Charles University amongst the students, and also, Rein, you did also a survey. Was the survey on foreign students or in general?
No, I did a focus group interview with only international students, and we also sent out letters during spring to our international students to ask how they are doing.
Okay, but in Tallinn University, has there been done any like a larger survey among students with the communication? Like, how was the communication scene?
Yeah, at the moment we haven't done that, but that's a great idea that we should consider. Yeah.
Okay, what do you think about like the survey results, Martina?
Actually, our survey was only with our American students and our teachers, and it went quite well because the feedback was like full of quality information, like that we could improve our summer online program, and the highlights I already mentioned in my presentation, but mostly students were satisfied as our colleague said that the support, they appreciated so much the support. So I think that that's the key success, like just to support them and to help them answer their questions.
Sasha, do you want to add anything?
Only that we take the feedback from evaluations quite seriously. We actually do it at the end of every semester and the middle of every semester, so we can improve things as we go along. But this one obviously was quite important because it was specific to online and the transition during the COVID period. So it was definitely full of useful information that we were able to incorporate into our program.
Okay. Since we have two different universities here represented, I was thinking that when the spring, when the crisis started, and you were just putting together your communication plan, did you reach out to other universities? Did you ask their opinion on what they're doing, or did you keep in touch with other universities and asking their maybe like ideas or like taking notes or something like that?
Honestly, no, because it was so fast and so unpredictable that we didn't have a time to ask somebody else from other universities. Also, because our program is quite unique in Czech Republic, because there is no other public university, even a private university, who is leading the program as we are doing it at Charles University. So everything was up to us. We only discussed our ideas with our IT department and with our main boss, but as I said, they trusted us because as a team we are working together already for 2 years and our cooperation is quite satisfying, I have to say. Sorry for that, but we had that feedback, so they let us do things as we were thinking that they are the best. So yeah.
Yeah, don't be sorry for doing the right thing. And what about Tallinn University?
Well, yes, I have to agree that during the first weeks, we did not have any time to think about such things. To maybe we should call others and ask how they are doing. But all in all, I would say that we have a pretty good cooperation with other Estonian universities if we should have any issues about the communications. So I just yesterday or a day before that, I don't remember, I just called internal communication specialist from Tallinn University of Technology, and we do share our best practices and concerns, and yeah, it's a great cooperation. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, you both have learned a lot, both universities have learned a lot, especially how do you do the crisis communication. And since we have some, let's say, government officials here watching us, or who also do like communication, but for the country, like what can governments learn from this, your experience, like university's experience? And I would like to start with Sasha.
Sure. I think we have a good example of that here in the Czech Republic because it's the same as with us. Everything was fast, everything was changing. They were trying to communicate, as best they could. But there was, for Czech Republic, there was for a long time no central website where to find all the information, which is, I think, key, something that we learned, to have everything in one place. Maybe it's one newsletter or one page on your website where students can go. And I think now, just in the past few weeks, they've launched a website where people can go and find every piece of information they need, whether it's getting tested for COVID or what stores are open, what are the curfew restrictions. So I think that is something that is very important for all bodies who are communicating with the public. Need to have everything in one central place and have it outlined clearly.
I couldn't agree more. Martina, do you want to add something?
No, it was everything that I wanted to say, so I agree completely with Sasha.
Absolutely.
Now it's getting better.
Okay. Rein?
Well, I can't talk on behalf of the whole university, but it seems to me that during the crisis, the political climate in Estonia hasn't also been very friendly towards our international students. So our international students were in Estonia, and it was difficult times for them, and when they were looking at the Estonian media, then it definitely did not make it feel more comfortable staying here. So I believe that maybe the officials should think about that.
Okay, so that's your takeaway, like they should think more what they are saying and how Estonia is perceived, let's say, in media for foreign students.
And how that affected our students.
Yeah, because it can have a long term.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. And yeah, so let's say in 5 years we're going to have totally new crisis. Are you prepared, and what would you do differently if, again, the entire country is shut down for whatever reason? And what would you do differently while communicating to the students? And let's start with Martina this time.
We would definitely improve our website because, as I said, we were slightly struggling at the beginning with our website because as suddenly 150 students were, of course, with teachers, were connecting, downloading things, searching things, working with the website. That's one of the weakest points of our our organization. So definitely improve our website, much more connected the website with recorded versions of our Zoom classes, and with all the information would be there. And we would try to maybe improve also our scheduling because during the spring, our classes have 90 minutes and we make them shorter. It means they were lasting only 60 minutes. But thanks to the feedback from summer online courses, we could even leave our 90 minutes of courses because students were like, oh my God, it was interesting even during online, and we would be able to stay connected and attentive during 90 minutes. So maybe these two things from my point of view, we would improve definitely. And maybe Sasha has another feedback.
I think that's exactly right. Definitely, as I mentioned, the website is key because that's where everyone knows they can go for the latest information, and maybe just streamline the communication a bit more, as it's hard to be sending, 5 different emails with different information, whereas if you had an online portal website, the students, the professors, the partners, even their parents home in the US could go to the one place to look for the latest information and what's happening with the program.
Rein, what would you do differently?
I would say that instead of only sending out very long emails and letters, I would definitely use more audiovisual ways to share information, to have virtual info sessions with simultaneous translation into English, of course, so that we could have a dialogue with our students and with our employees so that they could ask and have their questions responded in live. So yeah, I think using more live videos and such ways to communicate.
Mm-hmm. Also on your slides, Rein, you had that we should support the teachers as well. Do you want to elaborate that more?
Yeah, well, during the spring when the crisis happened, we all stayed home, and the teachers also had to conduct all their studies in home by themselves. Well, we have e-study center at Tallinn University where we have employees who give technical support to our teachers, but it seems to me that there should be more such employees who give support to our teachers so that they wouldn't be alone during the crisis.
So even like emotional support? Or
Yeah.
just, oh, okay.
Absolutely.
And Sasha, what do you think about this idea of supporting maybe the teachers or professors more and helping them, just not maybe only IT-wise, but overall?
I think that's incredibly important as we've realized through this whole pandemic that mental health is a huge part of it. And it was a lot of stress for the professors as well. We were maybe focusing a bit more on the students because they were pulled out of the program, going back to the US, but the teachers had to completely adapt everything, their modes of teaching, their schedules, where they were. And we did try, because we have a small team and a smaller group of professors we work with, we did try to support them, offer them if they wanted to come into our offices still and have a space for themselves where they could do their classes and feel that one of us was there nearby in case they needed something. We did try that, but I think it could always be improved, and it's a very important aspect.
Yeah, that's amazing that you were there to support them. I hope you had somebody to support you as well. Rein, you mentioned on your slides that time is so important. When it comes to crisis communication, 2 days is an eternity. Now, let's say, again, we're going to have a new crisis and you need to just be really quick on your feet. What would you do differently, and what is the time to actually react and give out some news or some information?
Well, I would start with thinking about how to process the whole information that I once received. During the spring, I did not think about the result, but if I had the result in Estonia, then I definitely have to have it in English also. That was the last piece of the process for me then, but now I should think, the first thing to think is how to translate the whole information into English, even if it appears to me after the working day.
And what is like the most important like information if I think about like you need to react, what is the most important message or something that you need to get out as quick as possible? What is the priority?
Well, I think the students should know if the university is open or not, and all the administrative side of the crisis. But also where to get help, who are the contacts, if they have such questions, who they should contact, and to know who they can call or who they can write, and have a quick response if they need it.
Martina, do you want to comment this?
Yes, actually with us it worked very well that our first message was that students started panicking because in US, US president was saying, okay, every American citizen just come back to US, it will be safer for you. And they started to panicking that, okay, we won't catch our flight. We don't know if we can stay at the dorms and what to do or where we get the food, you know, all the panic which was at the beginning. So the good thing that we did was that we came in person to their dorms. We were talking with them calmly. We were explaining. They could see us in person. It wasn't only, at the beginning, it wasn't only through emails or telephones. But of course, as I said, two of us then was at home and managing all other emails with our partners, universities, online, also do some calls. But the thing that they could see us at least before they left the country, I think it was functioning really well. And also the message that don't panic. It doesn't need to be as fast as media are saying or as everything seems. We will just help you find the flight, we will inform your university, and we have still the time. You doesn't need to leave in 2 hours from Czech Republic. So that was our experience.
Sasha, do you want to add anything?
I think, yeah, that summed it up pretty well, actually.
Yeah, for me, it's just like when I think about communication, it's how to reach your target audience. There's so much information everywhere. What to believe, who to trust, and it can be really confusing. And I think sometimes the panic comes from this confusion that I don't know if it's like if this is open or this is allowed or what I can do. So how do you like stand out in the noise of all this information? And maybe Sasha, you want to talk about this?
Sure, and I think that goes back to maybe having a sort of a personal relationship with your audience and knowing who you're speaking to. I think that we definitely, in the short time in the spring we had our students, we did establish ourselves as a trusted resource. They kind of looked to us for guidance. Of course, like you said, there was media, there was their parents telling them things, there was government, but they really looked to us and I think took the information that we were giving them as a trusted source. So I think that's an important way to stand out.
So trust between the students and the university is important, as I understand. Okay. Rein, do you want to comment? How do you reach your target audience?
Yeah, I definitely agree that when international students come to Estonia to study in Tallinn University, for example, the first thing is to build trust between the university and the students. And as I mentioned in my presentations, we have study counselors and program coordinators who regularly keep in touch with our international students even during the crisis and doing it via virtual ways. So yeah.
So it's like a personal connection between
Exactly.
the students and
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's very important. And as you mentioned, a lot of students were struggling financially. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that as well?
Well, yeah, as I mentioned, students feel that our government's attitude is not very friendly towards our international students, and they think that because of that, our companies also don't feel like safe to hire our international students, and that's a major concern for them.
Absolutely. And do you think like universities should offer the support and say that you are welcome here and we will help you and we will be there and support you?
Yeah, well, that's the struggle. If that's the attitude from the government, how our universities people say that, yeah, you're welcome here, even though if you look at the media, then it seems that, are they really?
Yeah. Sasha, did your foreign students also suffer from feeling like they are left out or they are like financially struggling, or did they have these kind of worries as Rain just pointed out?
Actually, most of ours didn't because they don't actually work. They can't work really when they come study through our program. So most of them, we have to make sure it's part of their application process that they already have the financial resources from their home to be able to study for the semester. And also because, like we said, they did leave so quickly within just a few days, I don't think they had much of a chance to feel left out, which is probably a good thing.
Okay, so you had totally different experience, which is interesting. Since we only have a couple of minutes left, I want to go over your last ideas, your most important message, or what is we should take from your presentation. And I would like to start with Martina.
So the most important message is that whenever another crisis is coming back, just stay calm, check what you can do, what is the most important thing by which you should start. And as I said, if you can inform in person your students that you are here for them, or call them, because every time the personal approach is the most important thing in this kind of crisis. If not, everybody is able to send emails, everybody is able to send you the link for the website, but to show to your students that you are also a human, not just the institution. This is the most important.
Sasha, your last thoughts.
Sure. Knowing your audience, where they're coming from, their own experiences, and keeping that in mind as you tailor different communications so that you're just speaking directly to the diverse groups within your audience, and just keeping in mind that people have different experiences and that's going to affect the way that they interpret what you're communicating.
I couldn't agree more. And Rain, your final thoughts and most important messages.
I really like the idea that building trust between students and university is the first and most essential thing that the university should do if they are having international students. And I would also, again, like to say that our study counselors and program coordinators who worked tirelessly and kept in touch with our students and asked how they are doing, and yeah.
So you all did a great job and you can be proud of yourself, and I honestly thank you for this interesting talk and these presentations. I learned a lot. I can take so much from your experiences, and I think that it's really great to hear another university story and just to exchange those experiences. And I thank you for joining us virtually, and Rein, thank you for joining us on site. And my name is Sille-Kadri, and we continue with our program. Thank you.
Thank you so much.